So, one of the most common way to classify planet is as per the natures. Nature. What is nature? So, planets are divided into benefics and malefics. So, what are benefics? The benefics generally stand for qualities like growth, expansion, and preservation. The malefics represent decay, restriction, and destruction. So here, if we look at the nature, Jupiter and Venus are natural benefics. Mars, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu are natural malefics. Sun is cruel. Moon is a natural benefic when waxing, moving from new to full. Otherwise, it is a natural malefic. Mercury is a natural benefic when it is not associated with natural malefics. Otherwise, it is a natural malefic. So, this is how they're classified, and Sun is cruel, which is not malefic or benefic. So, what happens there is some Jyotishis refers to the Sun as a natural malefic, others say it's merely cruel, and a few assert that it is cruel only when exalted and malefic otherwise. So, malefics are also cruel, but the sun is less likely to cause a person to sin other than other malefics. So, other malefics, it's a subtle line. There are many interpretations. Sometimes people take sun as malefic, and just to simplify the complications of Vedic Jyotish, and sometimes it's not categorized as malefic, it's just considered to be cruel. Planetary influences. So each planet can influence a sign or another planet by transferring some of its characteristics to it. And this influence comes through three ways. One is conjunction, the other is aspect, and the third is special aspect. So, what is a conjunction? Two or more planets influence one another by association or conjunction when they occupy the same constellation. Planets also influence constellations and houses by association. Each planet is associated with and consequently influences the constellation and house it occupies. So, in this horoscope, we see that two planets, Sun and Mercury, are in the same constellation of Cancer, in the same house. So, when they occupy the same constellation, when these planets are occupying the same constellation, Sun will influence Mercury in some way, and Mercury will influence Sun in some way. Also, Sun will influence the zodiac sign Cancer, and Mercury will also influence the sign Cancer. Sun will also influence the first house, and so will Mercury. Let's look at another case, Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn are in the same sign of Scorpio, in the same constellation. So Jupiter will influence Saturn, Saturn will influence Jupiter, Jupiter will also influence Scorpio, Saturn will also influence Scorpio, and Jupiter will influence the fifth house, and Saturn also will influence the fifth house. So all these influences happen when there is a conjunction or association. Even if one planet is there in a house, then it will influence the constellation, the sign. So Mars will influence Capricorn sign, Moon will influence Aquarius sign, Venus will influence Gemini sign, Rahu will influence Aries, and Ketu will influence the Libra sign. So next way of influencing is aspect. What is an aspect? So us, all planets fully aspect the seventh constellation from the constellation that they occupy. What is happening here is, for example, Sun is in first house, then you count seven houses from Sun. You count seven houses from Sun inclusively. So first house is counted as one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Sun will directly influence Mars and also the Capricorn sign. This is true with all planets. Mercury also will influence the seventh house and the planets in the seventh house. This is called aspect. So when they are influencing it, what they do is they transfer some of the energy to the other planet or Rashi. In this case, Venus is influencing the sixth house. Now, there is no planet in the sixth house, but since Venus is aspecting, then this house will be somehow influenced by the energy of Venus. So, the characteristics of Venus will somehow be blended inside the nature of this house and also the Rashi. So every planet has a seventh aspect. Moon will have an aspect on second house, Jupiter and Saturn on the 11th house. You can count one if you want to look at Jupiter or Saturn house. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So Jupiter is aspecting the seventh house, and so is Saturn. Moon, if you count from Moon, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Moon will aspect the second house, and some of the Moon's energy will be blended in the characteristic of the second house and also the constellation of the second house. Special aspects. So, in addition to the seventh aspect, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn also have what are called special aspects. These are as strong association as the full seventh aspect common to all planets. What are special aspects? If you look at Mars, so in the previous slide we saw that Mars was aspecting the seventh house, but it will also aspect the fourth house. So we will count four from here inclusively: one, two, three, four. So Mars will aspect Rahu and the 10th house and the Aries constellation. Again, we will count 8 from this house. So this is one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Mars is aspecting the second house and the Leo constellation. Again, we look at the second planet Jupiter. Jupiter's aspects are fifth and the ninth constellation from its position. So Jupiter is here. We count five from this house inclusively: one, two, three, four, five. And we can see this purple line showing that Jupiter is aspecting the ninth house, which is the Pisces sign, and then we count 9 from Jupiter: one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Jupiter is aspecting the first house and the planets in the first house, that is Sun and Mercury, and the constellation Cancer. The third is Saturn. Saturn aspects the third and the 10th constellation from its position. So Saturn is sitting here, and we will count three from here inclusively: one, two, three. So Saturn is aspecting the third house. It is also aspecting Mars and also the Capricorn sign. And then we count 10 from Saturn because it has a 10th aspect. So one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we can see the Saturn 10th aspect in the second house, which is the Leo sign. So these three planets have special aspects which are as strong as the seventh aspect. These three are the outer planets. For example, you have Sun, and then you have Mercury, Venus, Earth. So Mercury, Venus are between Sun and Earth, and Mars, Jupiter, Saturn are on the outer orbit of the solar system. They are after Earth. So these are outer planets, and these three outer planets have three different type of special aspects. So they influence those planets rashis. They transfer that energy in that houses. Rahu and Ketu are said by some Jyotishis to cast a full aspect on 5th and ninth constellation counted inclusively from the position. So Rahu and Ketu are also considered sometimes to have aspects 5th and ninth, which is similar to Jupiter. So in this case, Rahu is sitting here, and if we count 5 from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see a Rahu aspect happening here. And if you count 9, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we see a Rahu's aspect happening here. Some astrologers consider Ketu's aspect also like Rahu. Some astrologers do not consider Ketu's aspect. They consider Ketu to be a headless planet, so it casts no aspect.